change the world, but I guarantee that I will spark the brain that will change the world, and that's our job. Tell me why, tell me why, tell me why. Why can't we live together? Tell me why, tell me why. Why can't we live together? Everybody wants to live together. Why can't we live together?
Hello, all you melanated beauties, sun-kissed by God's lips. This is Coy with your black tea sip. I'm sipping power to pour you the truth. Go grab your cup. Let's get it up.
All right, happy Friday, everyone. I mean, I'm probably looking like what I've been through, but we're just gonna get past that. This basketball season with 2 children is a lot. It's a lot. Y'all pray for me, saints. Pray for me. This is Coy with your black tea sip, where we sip power to pour truth, and we are going to get into some things today. I am overjoyed. I found myself teary-eyed and kind of stuttering a little bit trying to get my words out because Kitanji Brown Jackson, I love the fact that she's married to a white man, last name Jackson. Kitanji Brown Jackson is now a Supreme Court Justice. I am elated. I am overwhelmed. I am feeling exuberant. I'm also feeling a spirit of renewal and revitalization. I'm feeling some things today because truthfully, had certain people that don't look like us, well, Ted Cruz doesn't typically look like anybody other than the Addams family, that little boy, but had, or the grandfather, more like the grandfather, because of the nose. Well, had he and his cronies had their way, she would not have been confirmed. And the only reason she wouldn't be confirmed is because she looks like me and not them. There's no other reason. Ted Cruz went to Harvard. Kitanji went to Harvard. Like, what would be the reason that she wouldn't be, and especially with Lindsey Graham saying that he confirmed her before, and this time he's not. He confirmed her twice before, but this time he's not. The only reason that I can think of, I mean, you all might have some other reasons, but the only reason I can think of would be because of the color of her skin. And I want to give a shout out to the 3 Republicans who said, I'm just not going to play this racist game. I am not going to throw rocks and hide my hands, Lindsey Graham. I am going to vote my conscience, and I'm going to do what's right because this woman is more than qualified. In fact, she's more qualified than any other justice sitting on the bench now. Which begs the question, was Papa Pope right when he said we have to work twice as hard to get half as much? Ooh, I feel like I'd be remiss if I didn't say I do not think that she would have been nominated nor confirmed had her husband been black. I know y'all are saying, now, Coy, that's unnecessary. Well, maybe it is unnecessary, but the truth doesn't care who tells it. And that's a truth. The truth is, and I talked about this a few weeks back, because her husband is white, Kamala, her husband is white, they are less threatening as black women. Now you can say, well, wait a minute, Coy, they gave Kitanji hell. They did. A few of them did. Let's keep it 100. Lindsey, Ted Cruz, the other little man with the long face and the long nose, he looked like a rectangle. They did. And, they did try to disparage her. They, and let me say this. This is why Democrats don't do well. Let's just go on and keep it 100. the Democrats don't do as well as the Republicans when it comes to real serious issues because we don't know how to tell a good story. So what they did was they came up with this narrative. It's QAnon. It's the kooks. You know, the Tea Party went from Tea Party, where we were talking about these people crazy, to complete batshit crazy people. QAnon. QAnon people believe that Hillary Clinton, along with Barack Obama and other key Democrats, are heading up a child pornography and pedophilia unit. And it was believed at one time that this operation was run out of the basement of a pizza parlor in Austin, Texas. I don't know why all the crazy stuff have to happen in Texas. We got crazy people. We got Governor Hot Wheels, who, let me just say this, Governor Hot Wheels has said that he is going to load up a busload of illegal immigrants that are illegally crossing the border, regardless of why they're crossing the border. Because let's be real, there are some very horrific things that are happening to people. It would be like if we were denied access to Mexico or Canada when we were seeking asylum from being murdered in the streets when our hands are up. That some people are fleeing those kinds of circumstances on a much larger scale. And Governor Hot Wheels has said instead of rolling himself away, he's going to put them in a bus and roll them to D.C. You know, this is performative. This is to tell Greg Abbott's way of telling Biden, you deal with it. Now, we do have an immigration problem. That's true. We do. We do have some issues that we are not handling effectively. And yes, I do get it when people say they don't want people here illegally. I know people that have said I had to come in the country the right way. But I always go back to this grandmother in Colombia, who, for whatever reason, had her 3 granddaughters. One was 16, 14, and 12. They being the guerrillas or whomever, and you know, some people right now listen to me to my wait a minute, what? Not that part of Colombia. Everybody calm down. And so they took her, and this is several years ago, took the 16-year-old to help pleasure the soldiers. The grandmother hid the other 2, and those guerrilla soldiers told the grandmother if she did not turn the other 2 girls over, they were going to set her on fire. So she left. And she walked with a 14-year-old and 12-year-old granddaughters. And she got to the border in Mexico, crossed over onto the United States side, and did everything right. Everything right. Did exactly what you're supposed to do when you're seeking asylum. They put her in an orange jumpsuit and put her in detention prison, and she does not know where her granddaughters are to this day. So when people start saying the immigration problem, we do have an immigration problem. We do have people that are looking for better solutions for their lives, and they are crossing over. We do have a drug problem. We have a cartel problem. We do have all of those things, but we also have people that are really trying to come here. The Haitians, for instance. I was watching The View. Sonny Hostin said it best. He had the Republican girl at the end of the table. I don't ever know those people's names. They shopping around trying to get somebody to fill in for Meghan McCain. Well, anyway, the woman, Sonny said, you can get asylum, Ukrainians, if you don't look like us. The Haitians were denied. They packed them up and sent them on a packing, had horses, running them down. It was slavery revisited, relived, live, and in Technicolor, honey. We saw it with the images that we were taught and told and have seen in documentaries and stories. Even the Harriet Tubman movie, we saw how they were running them down on horses. We saw that at the border. I know my pastor, Freddie Haynes, and others, Al Sharpner, they were all at the border, because they had taken up under a bridge. They have nowhere to go. So yes, all of those things are true. Governor Hot Wheels' solution is to pack them up. He's only talking about Mexican immigrants. He's not talking about anybody else because they're prejudiced and racist. And he's going to send them to D.C. I don't know what they're going to do with them in D.C., but I think that's hilarious that he wants to spend money and time and energy and logistics on that. All right, this is Coy with the Black Tea Sip. I want to talk about some things. There has been a Nigerian man that has been murdered by his girlfriend. It is lighting up Twitter. I don't know why Black Twitter does not charge. Black Twitter should charge every news outlet on the face of this planet. Let me say this. I knew about this story 2 or 3 days ago. TMZ just got it today. Or they just released it today. Maybe they had it before, but they just released it today. I want to talk about that. I want to talk about this Nigerian man, the things he said. I am going to get into some self-hate. We're going to do some other things here. Will Smith, his future looms in the balance, and Lola's love life. In a minute, this is Coy with the Black Tea Sip.
Nourished skin is healthy skin. Simply Ardor skincare products provides luxurious nourishment for your body. Indulge in rich scrubs and body butters and top it off with our sensational and unique aromatic lines of sprays and roll-on fragrances. It's simple and lovely. Simply Ardor. Love is real. Just spread it.
I am Tiffany Burks, Democratic candidate running to become your next Tarrant County District Attorney. Our county is at a defining moment where we decide who we are as a community and in our criminal justice system. With the mounting distrust of our justice system and of each other, far too many citizens question the fairness of the justice system. But we can bridge this growing divide and rebuild public trust by electing someone who has the courtroom and managerial experience needed to lead the district attorney's office, someone who has a reputation for being fair, and someone who is guided by an unwavering commitment to fairness, equity, and justice for everyone. And that someone is me. So vote for me, Tiffany Burks, during the Democratic primary. Early voting begins February 14th through the 25th, and Election Day is March 1st. A vote for Tiffany Burks is a vote for people, not politics.
All right, and we're back. This is Coy with the Black Tea Sip. I'm joined by Lola of Lola's Love Life, and we will get into it today. However, I want to talk about something that Black Twitter put y'all up on game long before anybody else. I do not know why Black Twitter does not charge media outlets. And I do not understand why we are not getting a piece of it. We, like I'm out here posting stuff. But I am talking about it, honey. Why we are not getting a piece of this big pie. You know, Elon Musk is now on the board of Twitter.
Yes.
Somebody said Elon need to quit worrying about being on Twitter and fix those batteries in those cars. You know, if the car catches on fire, the police come, but they can't put it out. So your house just burns to the ground. And so it will continue to, you didn't know that?
Well, wait a minute. And this passed inspection?
Yes, the battery can combust. And if that in fact happens, then the fire department will come and then they'll put out the fire and then they'll wait, because it's going to combust again, and then they'll wait. And this is hours. And so when people travel and that kind of thing, their house burns to the ground. So if you have a Tesla, park it in the driveway. Save your home. So he hasn't fixed that, but he's on the board for Twitter.
If you have a flat tire.
Oh, you can't, there's no help.
The email, I would die.
They have to email somebody. There is a number you can call, but it takes a long time to find it. Sunny Hostin, my soror. Sunny Hostin on The View said that Manny, because she's always talking about Manny, her husband, it took him 5 hours to get somebody to come and talk. There's no roadside assistance for Tesla.
That's too much money to not have a button.
And here's the other thing. Somebody said, well, you have roadside assistance with your insurance. Not for a Tesla.
Not for a Tesla.
They don't know what to do with a Tesla.
Because it definitely
and there's no spare. And it's no spare.
And they don't give you a spare tire.
So the whole thing is...
I mean, that's real confidence in the products. But, I mean, no, I'm not like, for that kind of money, no.
And they are very expensive. And your house can burn down to the ground.
And you don't. And you have to email someone. Can you imagine having a blowout, having to stop for an email?
When you're working late at night and you leave the campaign office or wherever you are.
Or
the club.
Anywhere.
It's 2, 3 o'clock in the morning and you trying to email somebody for some help.
They cannot have business hours like 9 to 5. I would lose my mind. That's ridiculous.
Well, I don't typically participate with anything that's not tried and true. You know, I don't eat chicken out of a fish house. I don't eat fish out of a chicken house. It's a lot of things that I don't do because I need tried and true, and Tesla is too new. It's just too new. But Twitter came out with a story, and I was sent this story. I was sent it a couple of times. A Nigerian man who expressed on Twitter. Now, mind you, these are old. Goes back to 2014, I believe. Angelo, can we pull up those tweets that he had back, I think, 2014, 2016? So this Nigerian man made some very disparaging statements about black women. And he said, he called black women ignorant, all of them. Not just the ones he was in contact with. He didn't call any names. Like, he didn't say Shelly or Nicole or, you know, Misty.
People from his hood.
He said, or, you know.
All of us.
You know, everybody was, all black women were ignorant. He hated the black women in his government class. Now, they're in school with him, so they got into the same school that he got into, but they're ignorant and stupid. And, you know, he said some really horrible things about black women. He said, when the beautiful white girls at Plano East wear yoga pants. Ah, you didn't know I was going to hit you with the Plano. I can teach a white girl a little about the African culture. Want a white girl, #help. White girls wearing booty shorts everywhere. Now that's what I like. Okay. LOL, I love white people. Shit, me to white girl. Okay. All right. But he also said, now that's his preference. I mean, you know, if that's what you like, that's what you like. We don't care on this show. You know, everybody do their thing. But he also said things like, why can't I find it? He also said things that were far worse, like black women were ignorant. He talked about the fact that they were all, he talked about them all twerking. He talked about them.
But you like white women in booty shorts.
There you go.
I'm so confused.
Yeah.
But, okay.
It's that. It's that part. Well, and I'm trying to find it. Unfortunately, I can't find but I will. I absolutely will. Before he talked about black girls and being ignorant and and there it is. I found it. Talks about them being ignorant, and here we go. He says, black girls are born knowing how to shake they ass. This is his words now. Me, honestly, I don't care. They're not my type. Well, that's fine. You don't like black girls, but you like them white girls in booty shorts. Can't believe Omfe thinks I talk to black girls when I don't. The way black girls disgrace themselves on TV. He goes on to make statements about white breasts versus black breasts that I'm not going to talk about on this show. These were some of the things. So here's what Black Twitter did. He was recently found murdered.
Oh, wow.
In a luxury apartment in Miami. We have the video, Angelo? Mm-hmm. This is the person that murdered him. She does not look like the women that he said he does not like. She looks very much like the girls that he said he did like, those people. And she killed him. If same thing make you laugh, make you cry was a person.
Yeah.
So here's the thing. Twitter comes out and somebody said something about it. And so there were people saying, well, his death matters. And my question is, well, that's true. But to whom? Because people have a right to feel the way they feel when they are disparaged, despised, publicly damned on social media. I just don't understand why people keep coming to us, black women in particular, but the black community, when something happens.
Because we're supposed to be forgiving.
Well, we are not our great grandmamas.
No, not at all. I mean, and the thing is, like, what are we supposed to do? He despised us. So what do y'all want us to do?
And he publicly decided that all black girls were ignorant. Once again, I'm tired of these black girls in my government class. Here, go back. You can go ahead, Angela.
It sounds like a white tick.
The way black girls disgrace themselves on TV. Go ahead and play the video. You were right. So here's the video. Because this is TMZ, but we borrowed. To whom does his death matter? Not the police.
No.
And they put her under the Baker Act, which means that they believe that she's gonna hurt herself, and so, or somebody else. I mean, let's keep it 100. She already killed one time, and so she's put into an asylum for monitoring. So let's deal with this a little bit, cause many people don't even know this is happening in Miami. There are a group of people that are calling for justice for him. There are another group of people, black Twitter people in particular, are saying, and they're shrugging their shoulders. But the question of the day is self-hate. Mm-hmm. Like, am I supposed to feel some kind of way when you have expressed the hatred for people that look like you? Or am I supposed to, what am I supposed to do with this? They were like, well, it's a soul lost. But lost to whom? This is not someone.
Well, and like, his soul was a reflection of how he felt about himself.
Right.
So it is a soul loss, but is it why, like you said, to whom does that matter? Like, and I'm not disregarding.
See, when you say that, they say, "Oh, well, his life." Well, he specifically said, he didn't say. They were like, "Well, this is his preference." Well, you can have a preference and not demonize another group of people in your preferences. He decided that white women were better than black women, and he publicly said it. He has a right to feel any way he wants to feel, even in death. He has a right to feel any way he wants to feel. What I have a problem with is the fact that he would decide to publicly state his disdain for black women when black women haven't done anything to him.
Yeah, and now you all want us to what?
Fight for justice?
Yeah. This is someone who did not want any help or support or love, or he didn't want anything from us when he was alive.
Right.
So why would we give him something when he's dead? I think in the best way to honor his death is continue to not give him what he doesn't want from us.
Right.
Like, that is the best way. Like, there's no sense of,
it sounds terrible, and I know people are clutching their pearls and pulling and fixing their ties, but the truth of the matter is, why do they keep asking us to be involved in these situations? This don't have nothing to do with us. This is not a black man that was gunned down or murdered or by a white woman. This is a black man who, and I'm going to say it, same thing, make you laugh, make you cry. If that was a person, you get what you put out. Now, his best friend, also Nigerian, also only dates white women. His girlfriend is saying their relationship was quite toxic and she murdered him. And she wants there to be outrage for his death based not on the color of his skin and not asking the black community. She is saying a wrong has been committed, a crime, and just out of respect for a life lost, there should be something done. And that I can respect. But this idea that you're supposed to feel some kind of way, well, I mean, you know, people got a right to feel any way they want to about their feelings. And so when we have these subjects that come up that are basically, you know, this is how you should feel and this is what you should, this is, you know, it should shock your consciousness and affect your heart. Well,
not really.
You know, I liken it to the whole Will Smith thing. So we're going to find out today what they're going to do to Will Smith, right? The Oscars, they can make a decision that he does not qualify for Oscar nominations in the future for X amount of years. I don't know how that works, and I couldn't find it. I wonder if that means that he will get less roles because they know no matter how good a performance, he's not going to be Oscar worthy. Does that affect the film as own?
But no, I don't think so, because the Oscars is like a double-edged sword, because you can have the Oscar curse too, get one Oscar and never get picked up for another film, and we see that time and time again.
Well, we do see that, but we also see people come out.
Because it doesn't eliminate Best Picture, Best Director, Best Supporting Actor.
Do we really know that though? Do we know that you want to go out and hire Will Smith because he's perfect for this role, even though you know? Yeah,
I mean, regardless of him ever being nominated for another role, his brand right now is toxic. And
there it is.
And so no one's going to sacrifice a film or a show for him. I mean, they're just not. I mean, his stuff has been suspended by Sony and Netflix right now.
Right.
So
he had 2 projects, and I'm kind of disappointed about that because Bad Boys 4, that doesn't just affect Will, that affects the production team, that affects
the other
the PAs, the production assistants, the other actors, the people who make extra money being extras. Like, this is a huge deal that he has now impacted. The same thing with his Netflix projects, the same thing with his production studio. I'm sure he's not on Tyler Perry's level, because who is? But if you look at Tyler Perry's production team, there are security guards that get paid because whether there's a show going on there or not, they're there to secure that particular production studio. When his brand doesn't afford them the opportunity to make money, then those people are out of work. Yeah. This is bigger than Will Smith.
I mean, it's a huge domino effect. I mean, people in general when the decisions we make, we only sometimes think they affect ourselves immediately, but they definitely are a domino effect of how they affect other people. I do want to go back to this self-hate that you were talking about, because Judge Kitanji Brown Jackson was elected, and Tim Scott, who is a black man Republican, did not vote for her.
Well, only 3 Republicans did.
Right, and so the Nigerian Miami definitely has a preference, but in the same sense, Tim Scott definitely has a preference because he supported a white man that, you know, grabs women by the JJ, but feels like there needs to be more.
You know, all I can say about Tim Scott is I'm not sure that it's the brainwashing we think it is. Maybe he's just trying to eat. I just can't put my finger on, you know. I mean, even Clarence Thomas, who is a Supreme Court nominee, and they tried, I remember when Bush nominated him, Daddy Bush, not Baby Bush, when he nominated him, they tried to liken him to Thurgood Marshall, and the black community went completely apeshit. I mean, like, they went completely, they were like, ain't no way on God's green earth. You know, and we knew that he had violated Anita Hill. We knew he wasn't a good guy, but y'all gave it to him anyway. this idea, that's what I was saying earlier, the GOP, they paint these stories that we are ineffective in telling, and they said child pornography and Hillary Clinton and Obama are these ringleaders of this child pornography, child pedophilia ring that at one time they believed was operating under a pizza parlor in Austin. And so they have tried to liken her to that. That's the QAnon story. And I want to, one person in particular that I think we need to celebrate, and I didn't say this earlier, is Mitt Romney. A lot of people don't like Mitt Romney. I actually think Mitt Romney is a good guy. He's just an elitist, but he is certainly not racist or prejudiced. He actually had full health care for the people in Massachusetts before we were even talking about it with Obama. Really, they were trying to model what he did, and they let so many hands in there, they mucked it up where he couldn't get it done. Mitt Romney already had the game plan. It's effective, it's working, it's not draining the coffers, there's money there. He knew exactly how to do it. They knocked him out of the running for presidency when they asked him what was middle class, and he said $250,000 a year. And then a bunch of black folks who, easily led, the sheeple, they went against Mitt Romney. Mitt Romney is not a bad guy, he's just an elitist. He doesn't often operate outside of his bubble. Yeah. But what he did in that moment, and this is when you see somebody's true character, all the Republicans left. Mitt Romney stood there and applauded with that prolonged applaud for Kitanji Brown Jackson for the simple fact that it was the right thing to do. And I think we vilify the entire Republican Party. And I get why. I mean, I understand why we do that. But the real issue is they don't even allow the best and the brightest of their own party to excel. We are still dealing right now with the Trumpster, Rumpster. And right now, the DA, they've had two assistant district attorneys in Manhattan, which is supposed to be one of the best DA offices in the land, have resigned. One with a scathing resignation letter that literally said, I'm paraphrasing, you're full of crap, the evidence is there, and Trump should be indicted. We'll talk about it more in just a minute. This is Call with the Black Tea Sip. Give us a like if you want us to go back and talk about. We are going to unpack this Nigerian murder because it looks like she's going to get away with it. And
she is.
What are we supposed to do?
They're going to say she was crazy.
This is Call with the Black Tea Sip. In a minute.
Do you want to find a stable job in a growing field? IT jobs such as network systems administrators, cybersecurity, programming, cloud, and computer systems analyst are expected to increase 25% by 2022. Texas Premier Technology Institute offers training for top certifications such as CompTIA, Cisco, and Microsoft in less than 12 weeks. And if you're unemployed or underemployed, you may qualify for free tuition. Contact TPTI at 1-888-490-TPTI or check them out on the web at tpti.us.
I am Tiffany Burks, Democratic candidate running to become your next Tarrant County District Attorney. Our county is at a defining moment where we decide who we are as a community and in our criminal justice system. With the mounting distrust of our justice system and of each other, far too many citizens question the fairness of the justice system. But we can bridge this growing divide and rebuild public trust by electing someone who has the courtroom and managerial experience needed to lead the district attorney's office, someone who has a reputation for being fair, and someone who is guided by an unwavering commitment to fairness, equity, and justice for everyone. And that someone is me. So vote for me, Tiffany Burks, during the Democratic primary. Early voting begins February 14th through the 25th, and Election Day is March 1st. A vote for Tiffany Burks is a vote for people, not politics.
All right, and we're back. This is Call with the Black Tea Sip. I'm joined by Lola of Lola's Love Life, and we are talking about all the things that go on in our black world. And so before the break, we were talking about this self-hate thing with this Nigerian man who basically said everything was wrong with black women and how he really liked white women and his white girlfriend, who did I mention had an OnlyFriends page?
Oh, wow.
So the black women that are twerking, OnlyFans. What I say, OnlyFriends, OnlyFans page, yeah. Because I still don't understand none of that. But I think Elon's gonna fix all that with Twitter. But so he's making these disparaging comments about black women, and his preference is white women. I mean, you know. And he's Nigerian, so there's a little something in there, you know, for white is right. But he's murdered by her, and it looks like the girl is gonna get away with it. And now her best friend, I was saying this earlier, her best friend, his best friend's girlfriend, also a white girl, is outraged. And she took to Twitter and she is telling what's happening because it wasn't even making the news. It has recently made TMZ, but it was not making the news. And so we're in this space, right? Even with the Will Smith thing. I know the comedian Carmichael said he's not going to talk about it. He said he talked about how it happened on Sunday. Monday was interesting. Tuesday was a little interesting. By Wednesday, he wanted to kill himself. He was sick of it. But here's what I'm seeing on social media, and even in some of the conversations I've had some people text me, there seems to be a great divide between black and white. Most that I have seen, black people feel like there should be some really harsh punishment for Will. I've seen a lot of white people, white women in particular, talk about how he made a mistake. Well, when was the mistake made? When he got out of his seat? When he walked up to the stage? When he slapped him?
Yeah.
When he turned around and walked off? When he smirked? When he went down? When he told him to keep his MF and wife's name out of his mouth? Like, what part was the mistake? Because that's too much to happen. See, a mistake means there is an accidental wrong. Mm-hmm. That's what a mistake means. It means this is not the intended result that you were going for, and so there has been some kind of accident in the action. Mm-hmm. That's what that means. That's what a mistake is. So to that end, what part is the mistake?
I mean, all of it was a mistake. So a mistake is
an accident.
An accident. This wasn't an accident.
Nope.
Like, it was not an accident. He made a poor decision, but this is definitely not an accident because he intentionally got out of seat. He intentionally walked up to the stage, and he intentionally slapped him. And so there was no mistake made. Like, his intentions are very clear of what he wanted to do and what he did do. And so, I mean, at the end of the day, you know, he has to live with that and the consequences that come with it. I definitely feel like the Oscars, even if they publicly say he will never, you know, be able to qualify for an Oscar nominee, no one's going to nominate him anyway because of all of this. Like,
are we sure about that?
Yeah.
Because, look, this is what I know for sure.
Because he'd have to get hired first. It'll be a long time before that.
No, because white people are very forgiving. And so the Oscars, the board, all that, I think Whoopi's on there. But the Oscars, the board is not black. The trustees are not black. Mm-hmm. They don't live in our black world. They don't deal with our black issues. And we know that because we've been saying Oscars, #Oscars so white, Grammys so white. I mean, like, we've been doing that. So, and it is terrible and horrific and awful, and we talked about that it just cast this black cloud over all the great things that were going on. But there seems to be a whitenized reparations for Will. Like, we see it. So we'll see what they do. They could come back and say he's not going to be nominated for an Oscar for 10 years, but there's an appeals process, and Will appeal. And it'll quietly be knocked down. And the next thing we know, Will be nominated again. We know that. That's the part that I'm saying. There are two different worlds in the punishment phase for Will. Now, had he walked up and slapped Adam Sandler or Jim Carrey or Drew Carey or hell, even Bill Maher, we would have said Bill Maher would have swung on him. We would see something different. Mm-hmm. But because immediately, the very next day after this happened, there were several shows that came on talking about how Chris Rock was a horrible person. There were journalists, one from Britain, that said he was not surprised that Will Smith slapped him because Chris Rock, out of all the people he's interviewed, he was the worst. So there's already this ramping up to say, Will, now here's what I want to say, because you're saying, well, how does that tie to the Nigerian man? Want to hear it go. Here it is. Will needs to take, I hope that whatever happens to him is the worst thing that could ever happen to him in the history of man as far as the punishment phase. Because what Will needs to do is sit down in a very quiet space, alone with his thoughts and his God, and take stock of what led him to this place. Now, this poor Nigerian man that done went on to glory, well, I hope he went to the non-smoking section, but I don't know this man. He might have gone to the smoking section. But he didn't get reflective time because, his girlfriend killed him. But at some point, you just ask yourself, how did I get here? How did I end up in this place? And we do talk about relationships on this show, but I don't think we do enough of that. Like, there has got to be some self-actualization that goes on that says, Jada is toxic. Jada has put me in some precarious situations. Jada has humiliated and embarrassed the super hell out of me. Everybody in Hollywood knows my business. Regina Hall had the men on stage and then said, Will, because...
Although y'all are married, it's fair game. Mm-hmm.
Now that wasn't offensive. Jada didn't get up and slap Regina.
No, she didn't.
I'm going to say this, and this is just parenthetically speaking. I don't understand how this woman bald head is off limits when her vagina is out here for the world to opine. I don't understand that. But my daddy said if you understand there's something wrong with you.
I don't think it has anything to do with her head or anything like that. I think it has to do with when she boycotted the Oscars the year Chris Rock was hosting it, there was a friction. There was the friction. Mm-hmm. And so, in that same space,
yep,
she wanted to show her own strength by using.
But she has none. See, right. That's the whole thing. Jada is irrelevant. And the only reason the Red Table Talk, and y'all need to stop watching that show because it's really filling your heads with a bunch of foolishness. The only reason that the Red Table Talk, stop watching, it's going to mess you up. It's going to mess you up like me when I was swiping on your phone. It's going to mess you up. The only reason the Red Table Talk is relevant in any way is because this world has her weirdo children and a cuckoo mama on here talking all up under their clothes. Y'all wouldn't watch that if they wasn't doing that.
So I will say this. I do feel like there is some toxic with Jada.
She's toxic. It's toxicity in that show.
I don't think everything she does, though, is toxic. Like, it's some bad, obviously. But there is some good. And she has used her platform for some good.
For what good?
So,
what good has she used?
The Red Table Talk definitely has open discussions. It's not about
up under people's clothes.
It's not always about up under people's clothes. It's even talked about some other stuff that has been very, interesting. So even how a lot of celebrity white women have adopted black children and. How that space is very alarming to us as black people.
And what did she do? So, she said it was all right?
No, she didn't say it was all right. She
celebrated the white women that did it?
No.
What she do, have Sandra Bullock on there? Or Charlize Theron? Because one of them done turned their baby the other way.
I don't
Oh, she didn't talk about that?
Well, they weren't on there.
But she didn't talk about that? See what I'm saying?
I don't watch it enough to say what she has.
Because if you're going to talk about white women getting black babies and helping rescuing these black babies and raising these black babies, then we have to talk about that as far as celebrities. Because one of them, I don't know if it's I think it's Sandra Bullock. It's Charlize Theron.
She's South African.
Yeah, she's South African. Her adopted black child at a very young age, 3 or 4. I think it's a boy. She was dressing as a girl.
Oh, I didn't.
Oh, she didn't talk about that.
Well, yeah, and I didn't know it. Yeah, it wasn't.
But
her.
That's happening in Hollywood and the celebrities and adopting black children. Look like to me that would have been talked about.
No, it was more so understanding how it was a long time ago, but my point in saying this is, we can't just.
You're not gonna convince me
completely, and I'm not. No,
because I am not a Jada fan. I think she is a trash human. I think she's one of the worst people that ever God ever put skin on. I think she's a horrible person, and I think that she has literally destroyed Will in the same way that this woman destroyed this Nigerian man, literally. Because of his preferences and this, that, and other. Because when a relationship is not working. I mean, you know that. You know when a relationship is bad, when it's not working, when you are constantly fighting and at odds. You know that. So why don't people leave? I got to pay some bills. This is Corbett the Black Tea. We'll talk about it in a minute. I want to talk about all the things that are going on wrong in relationships. And I don't have a problem with black people that want to be with white people. I have a problem sometimes with black people that want to be with black people. I'm not supposed to. I just think people ought to make good choices. And clearly they are not. This man is in the grave. I think. Maybe he's still in the morgue. I don't know where he is. I just know they put a sheet over him.
To do with, saying that you want to be only with white women, right? And because the entire race of black women is terrible, and so you're not even you're not even.
He's not dating his preference.
Right.
He's dating against the very people that look like him.
And he doesn't even, which means that he doesn't even know. He's not looking at a woman from a moral standpoint or
what she can contribute
to his
life.
standpoint.
Yeah.
He's just looking at the color of her skin, and what he has been taught what has happened is the very people he disgraced, that has come out in the women he praised. What he hates, hatred has found him. And now he dead. I mean, I'm not saying black people don't kill black people. I mean, we do. But there is a certain amount of irony in the fact that he was disparaging black women, celebrating white women, and a white woman put a knife in his chest. This is Corbett the Black Tea Sip. I got to pay some bills.
Hello, Saints. Pastor Battle, host of the talk show Creating Change to Unify Our Society. Broadcasting live each week on Tuesday at 12 noon from FBRN Studios at Globe Life Park in Arlington, Texas. Log on to hear conversations about creating change to unify our society. In order for us to bring about change, we must first change ourselves. So be sure to log on each week on Tuesday at 12 noon to catch Creating Change to Unify Our Society.
On Fishbowl Radio Network, jump in.
Podcasters and internet radio hosts, it's time to take your show to the next level. Hi, my name is Sammy G, a 30-plus year radio broadcasting veteran, public speaker, and voiceover artist. And for the last 11 years, now the proud owner of Fishbowl Radio Network, the largest and most listened to streaming platform and radio station facility of its kind. 2 years ago, I created a proprietary system to help podcasters and internet radio hosts learn how to program their show like the pros, build a constantly growing and loyal fan base, and monetize their show. I teach this system every 6 weeks via Zoom to individuals all over the world. The Behind the Mic Masterclass is 6 one-hour classes that will finally take your show to the next level. Call today, 817-633-4880, 817-633-4880, and reserve your seat for the next Behind the Mic Masterclass.
Hey DFW, it's Luna and Nika, owners of Real Dallas Properties and Management, here to serve all your real estate needs. Nika, tell them what we do.
So we're a Dallas-based boutique real estate brokerage, and we're full service, which means we can help with every and any type of real estate transaction.
That's right, we got your back at every stage of life.
Whether you need an apartment, a home rental, to buying your first home, selling that home, buying investments, to even property management.
And don't forget commercial, looking for a new space for your business? We got you on that too. You can reach us on Instagram at Real Dallas Properties or shop all properties on the market at RealDallasProperties.com.
Hi, this is Diane Marion Eunice, and I am a licensed marriage and family therapist. For the past 9 years, I have worked with over 300 couples in the areas of sexual health, communication, and conflict resolution. If you are interested in rebuilding connection and intimacy with your partner, please contact me today. I can be reached at 682-201-8175, or you can email me at diane@letstalkrelationships.org, or visit my website at www.letstalkrelationships.org. And remember, you can't heal if you refuse to deal.
Attention, Kiko is hiring. You heard right. Kiko is hiring. Kiko is looking for you to fill the following positions: seamstress, machine operators, forklift drivers, loaders, packers, and baggers. 2 shifts are available. First shift Monday to Friday, 7 a.m. to 4:30 p.m. Saturday, and 6 a.m. to 12 p.m. overtime. And second shift Monday to Friday, 4:30 p.m. to 1 a.m. Saturday, and 12 p.m. to 6 p.m. overtime. Kiko offers great medical benefits just 30 days after hire and company match 401k. Visit us at KikoHome.com and submit your resume to Cariano@lkiko.com. You can also apply in person at 5450 West Keith Boulevard in Dallas. All interviews are conducted in person. Don't miss this great opportunity. Get hired today at Kiko.
The Centers for Disease Control and Prevention is working to help keep you and your community safe from the threat of novel or new coronavirus. Take the following everyday steps to help avoid the spread of all respiratory viruses. Wash your hands often with soap and water for at least 20 seconds. Cover your cough or sneeze with a tissue. Throw the tissue away and then wash your hands. Avoid touching your eyes, nose, and mouth. Clean and disinfect frequently touched objects or surfaces, such as remote controls and doorknobs. Avoid close contact with people who are sick. And stay home if you are sick. Call your healthcare provider if you develop fever, cough, or difficulty breathing. For more tips, visit cdc.gov.
Yeah, if you came to get some real music with a real vibe, then you came to the right spot. You know what it is. 99.9. This is DJ Candy Can. Here with Loose Cannons. Letting y'all know we about to do this like a fresh pair of Lokes on Eazy-E. Baseline shade.
Let me put my shades on. It's cooler than being cool. Let me put my shades on. Yeah. It's cooler than being cool. 2 froze, shades on. I guess you get what you asked for. You can't bullshit the matador. I see the sunset, I see the shore. To the core concrete, I go hard when it doors. When it rains, pain. Club a lane, no shame. Cock back game, Bob gun, go bang. Top hat cane, come a bun, 2 chains. Looking like a Millie, having fun, Lil Wayne. I've been this way since I paid for my school grades. By the pool, sipping Kool-Aid. We shake in the finger waves. Play dates in the backseat, bitch, I'm on my cool J. Take pride in surviving the stakes as I take the ride. Just hoping don't break supply. First to rise, I want the whole cake, the pie. The lights are blinding, hold up, let me put my shades on. It's cooler than being cool. Let me put my shades on. Yeah. It's cooler than being cool. 2 froze, shades on.
My hands, pockets in the spliffs, farther to your flow. Wards in the cliffs, I push off the cliff just to see what your falls like. Just to see what your balls like. I drag nuts, can't carry too heavy. Busting down your walls like Katrina did the levee. Knocking in your box, Capri Chevy 99.9 UMG. If today was today, then tonight we should play. I clear up my evening, hit me up around 8. I'm giving one dolo shot. Down and come up like a pogo hop. Rocker wearing down to the polo shop. Friday night lights, let my mojo pop. Better get your photos copped. TMZ flashing in the photos. What's cooler than being cool?
Let me put my shades on. It's cooler than being cool. Let me put my shades on. You didn't know what you was getting. getting. This big papa, big pimpin'. I'm a showstopper, helicopter, go Venice. Flying over suckers screaming, this is no scrimmage. This is no gimmick, no Instagram image. Papa's got a brand new bag and I'm in it. Looking for my innocence, I ain't seen a trace of it since I was 10 and convinced that my shit was the shit. This moment forth, I own to set the course. Avoiding that dead end one way. Soak up the sun rays. Said it take a minute to sunbathe. See, I don't drown, I get down and ride waves. Kanye the coach, in case close it's over. Dirt off my shoulders, change clothes to show ya. Supreme flow, need a queen, I'm King Cobra. Toast to not leaving here sober. Let me put my shades on. It's cooler than being cool. Ice cold. Let me put my shades on. Yeah. It's cooler than being cool. Two froze, shades on.
I'm not saying I'm going to rule the world or I'm going to change the world, but I guarantee that I will spark the brain that will change the world. And that's our job. Tell me why. Why can't we live together? Tell me why. Why can't we live together? Everybody wants to live together. Why can't we live together?
Hello, all you melanated beauties. Sun-kissed by God's lips. This is Koi with your black tea sip. I'm sipping power to pour you the truth. Go grab your cup. Let's fill it up.
All right, and we're black. Well, we are black. We're back, all you gods and goddesses, sun-kissed by God's lips. This is Corey with your black tea sip. But I have Lola of Lola's Love Life here, and we are talking about relationships. And we talked about self-hate and Will, because I think Jada's a trash human. I know a lot of people like Jada. I've gotten some texts and some DMs, people saying lay off of Jada. If I don't, what you gonna do? So here are my thoughts as far as relationships. People want to get a return on their investment. They have invested a lot in the relationship and they want to get something out of it. If that relationship is not working, walk away, because you're not going to get anything but what you've gotten. I'm going to say this as eloquently as I know how. To get something you ain't never had, you're going to have to do something you ain't never done.
Right.
So if that is the case, if this relationship is not working for you, if you're always arguing, if you're always sad, if it's always tense, if the best part of your relationship is making up after you've had a huge fight, well, now there's something wrong with you. You ought to be tired. But aside from that, that is a sign of a toxic relationship. And sometimes, listen, let me tell you something. Sometimes you are the problem. You are playing a role in your own disappointment, and you have created the monster that you're battling. Sometimes it's you. That's why I said Will Smith needs to sit down somewhere, look at everything that he had, and then take stock of what he could possibly lose, and look at the person that did it to him. Because, yes, he did it to himself, but let's be real clear. Jada been playing this boy like a fiddle for a long time.
Well, yeah, you have to ask yourself why are you in this relationship, or why are you in this relationship, and is it worth the price, right?
Yeah.
And so if the reason why is because you've been divorced once, you'll be damned if you get another one. That's the problem, because you're only staying, just so people won't say you have been divorced twice, right? If you're
I didn't know that was a thing, but okay.
Well, yeah, there are some people who just failure is a very overwhelming
and the part of
emotion.
Divorce, there is a feeling of failure.
Right.
I agree with that.
And I've never been married,
but it don't last. If you don't want it to last, it won't last.
But
I'm speaking from experience.
But so there are some people who are obsessed with winning in their own state of mind, right? It's not a win if you're staying just because you're not divorced.
MJG ball, right. Pimping your own ride.
Yeah, okay. You can't but if that is what's making you stay because you refuse to fail at something.
I think it's more than just failure. I think a lot of times, women in particular, it's if I'm going to find someone else. I'm going to stay here because I may not find anybody else. That happens a lot. so they stay in bad relationships.
And but I guess, and then it goes deeper than that about life itself. Like, how are you living your life? Like, because, okay, so even with deciding this year I'm going to intentionally date, that meant that all the people or all the men, and I'm saying that like it was a lie, but it was enough that, have been back and forth in my life for years, or giving attention to someone just for the company and things of that nature, doing that for so long. I had to completely, cut that off. And in cutting that off, you will find yourself going to bed at 7 o'clock. And, in my youthful age, because no one's, checking for you or calling you or any of that. But then you have to decide in that you have to remind yourself that, like you said, if I want something different, I got to do something different. And so it's an uncomfortable way of living at first. But, when you keep your end goal in mind, it turns out better. I
think there is, I'm a person that believes in energy, and I know like people roll their eyes. I really believe in energy, and I believe that the universe delivers you what you put out. So what you put out is what you will receive. When you, anybody, man or woman, because I have homeboys that it said that this has been them, and I remember saying one time to Sean, I was like, well, you just ain't never dated nobody because, something to do. He was like, no, I've never done that. And I was like, what? And I was thinking to myself, well, what kind of dude are you? Like, you may not just be like totally into the person, but, they're fun and they kind of got an expiration date. And people were like, Coy, people don't do that. Oh, well, oopsie daisy. But for me, I'm not going to get behind a white picket fence with 2.5 kids and a dog with this dude. But we can go out and have some fun.
I mean, there are people that you can enjoy their company and they're friends, right? But this is where it gets.
But you know that
sketchy.
This is going to expire.
Yeah,
like this is not going to last.
Where it gets sketchy, because I believe that there's somebody in this for fun stage era is wanting it to be more. It could
correct.
Be,
that is correct.
That's where and my whole thing is I don't ever want someone to feel like they're just settling for me, like, because I'm not going to just settle for them, right? And so having them, so in that kind of state, it can be a little,
I think when people find themselves in a relationship and it is not working, it is very difficult for the person to say, this is bad and I'm out.
Well, yeah, because they've invested so much, so you're hoping for a return.
But you can't always get a return on your investment. And the more time you spend on trying to fix it, the deeper you become engulfed in mess and foolishness. And, and listen, there are people that are really off balanced. Like they cannot handle the down part of a relationship. We got a whole man dead here because I don't believe that woman could handle the downtime of the relationship. And the best friend's girlfriend said this was a toxic relationship and neither one of them recognized it. But I think that a huge problem that people have is they haven't learned how to be in a relationship. And to your point, Lola, about men who have been divorced before, and usually a man who has been married and divorced, usually he's a good boyfriend because he's already messed up. She done already told him all the stuff he did wrong. And so you just need to teach him you.
Right.
The goals of a relationship, he probably has those. I mean, if he's emotionally intelligent. And I'm not saying all divorced men are. There are some really stupid people out there, man or woman. But for the most part, he's already learned. And he knows what it is he wants and what he doesn't want. And so you find yourselves, men that have been divorced typically operate a little differently. Now, do they still play games? Absolutely. That's just people. It's not just a male trait. But I think when you find yourself intentionally dating, you have to really know what it is you want. what it is that you are not going to settle for and what it is that you're going to tolerate, you know, and without knowing those things, you get yourself caught up in a cataclysmic cluster screw up because you don't know enough about yourself in dating. And I really think that people ought to, like in college, they ought to teach a class on how to date. Like how, because people don't know how to do that. It's some people failing in these streets. Like they don't know how to date. You know, just you meet this guy, you meet a girl, you know, you talk to her, y'all make a date, you have a good time, and then you expect a call the next day. They just met you. They're not. They probably. I mean, there's nothing wrong if they don't call you the next day. Does he have to call every single day? Well, didn't he have somebody he was talking to in a life and stuff going on before he met you? Didn't you have stuff going on before you met him? Like, you know, some of this is, well, you know, I ain't heard from him in 2 days, so I guess he with another woman. Did you call him? Now, I'm not calling him.
Yeah, I think so, and I think the expectations have to be practical based on, you know, how long you've known someone. So first date, you know, I don't, you know, check to make sure I got home maybe, but I don't expect, you know, you to call every day or, now I will say this.
Yes, say this.
Don't start something.
And not finish. Start like you want to finish.
Yeah, start like you want to finish, or don't, because that's where that comes in. So if, you know, if you have been getting a good morning text from someone, you know, every morning
for 3 weeks,
and y'all have gone out at least, you know, twice or whatever, I think, and then that kind of stops, it does kind of make you feel
agree,
like,
because his habits have changed.
Yeah, his habits have changed. But I think the expectations in dating have to be centered around, you know, how much you know about a person, like, and how much, and what someone it has already told you with their expectations. Like, if they say they're busy and they have a lot going on, or this is a very busy time for them at work, you know, don't disregard that, because those are, you know, they're telling you what's going on. And so, from that standpoint, your expectations should, you know,
should be adjusted.
Yeah, it should be adjusted. But so I feel like how you start, if that's not how you finish, then now I don't now I feel like you're playing games, or
and that is a game.
Yeah, and it's just that in itself, because in dating for me, I feel like I'm already putting myself out there. This is being very vulnerable, very honest, and I'm not being taken seriously. And then that's fine. If you don't take me seriously, that's fine. But understand that because you don't take me seriously, I'm definitely not taking anything you say or do seriously, or in regard to you even having interest. Because at this point, you know, you're not reciprocating what I'm giving.
Right. Okay. So when we're talking about relationships, and we're, you know, we started the show off by talking about this Nigerian man full of self-hate, only to disparage black women, and that ended up being murdered by his white girlfriend, and Black Twitter has roasted him and anybody who tried to support him. But I also think there is this faction of people who really want to disavow certain things, you know, the toxicity in the relationship that his best friend's girlfriend talked about. I brought up Will and Jada. It's a toxic relationship. She did talk about not feeling secure, not feeling safe, feeling, you know, like he wasn't there for her. And I don't think he knew what to do and how to do it. So recently, August Alsina came out with another song. Now, I've had some people tell me, you know, the Smiths ruined his career. Well, I never heard of him before, so I don't even know what kind of career he had. But you know, no tea, no shade. But the other thing is, he's now bringing this up. I think Jim Carrey said it first. Said it best. Excuse me. That Will acted out because of some frustration he had within himself. Right? That was some kind of frustration, some kind of unhappiness that he had within himself. So then you have people like that you're dating that are not acknowledging that they're all screwed up, and that's why I say you need to have some kind of class. Like, you don't have to have a class to. Thank you, Angelo. Listen, it's rough out here in these streets. No, but let me say this, you need a class. That's okay. You need a class. You need a class. Some of these people need a class to have a child. Like some of y'all not good at parenting. Like, there should be a class. I mean, they do have a class, but that's CPS. I'm talking about before you get there. And there should be some classes to help people understand relationships, interpersonal skills. You can't, there are things that have to be done in a relationship. You need to feel her out. I think the whole internet dating, one thing you said to me is you get to really better know a person before the initial face-to-face opportunity.
Right, or even just giving them your personal number, because you get to see, you get to learn by their response if this is something that you want to.
Well, so then why did you go out with the dude that said he gonna be a preacher?
So, I didn't know that until we went on the date.
So you don't say, what do you do? Is that offensive?
He's a executive director of
something. Let's not bust him out.
Yeah, and so we talked about marketing and media and all of that.
So he didn't say he was gonna be a preacher till after he found out you were a pre-K.
Yeah, and so
he's a liar. He's lying.
So anyway,
he's lying.
I mean, the thing about that is, it wasn't. So okay, that's what you want to do. Anybody who knows me knows
that is not your calling.
That is definitely not what the Lord has led me to be.
That's not your calling.
However, I do feel like he, on the date led with that. And, he talked about strategic planning, and I guess he's organizing a church and things of that nature. And so, to that point, I think with guys, and I could be wrong, but they definitely have one formula, and if it works on one woman, they try it on everybody. And they are not trying to shift that formula. And so, for him, it was, being very romantic, like very intimate and romantic. And it was kind of like...
Early on?
Oh, God. It was kind of like...
That's creepy. That's very off-putting.
Give me my space or whatever.
Well, because you cannot... Listen, intimacy, relationships have to grow organically. It's not going to just come. I remember telling my friend... a long time ago, over 3 years ago, about me and Sean. And she was kind of asking me because we had been spending a lot of time together. And she said, yeah, Sean spent a lot of time together. That's not really you. And I said, yes. And I've noticed that he's tying up all my time, so I have very little time for anything else or anyone else. Because, I got kids, I got very seasoned parents. And so my responsibilities are very different from someone else my age. Because most of my friends, because Sean's not but 3 years older than me, his children are grown. His son is smiling at 30 and is winking back. His children are grown. My baby's 11. My big boy is 14. Shout out to the Murchison boys who did their thing. Hayes got straight A's. Zon got 2 B's, and he's very upset about that 87. He said, now, that should have been a 90. But shout out to the Murchison boys. They're going to hate that I did that. But, I got little kids. I got grade school kids, right? And then, my dad's 87. So I have both ends of the spectrum. My life is very different for somebody my age. And so I don't have a lot of time. My time is very intentional. The time I spend with you, when I talk to you on the phone, that's your time. And I make a point to give you that time. There are some other people that don't get that because I just don't have it to give. So when I first started dating him, he did lock up a lot of my time. I think that was intentional. I think he knew exactly what he was doing. Create a vacuum where I don't have time for anything else. So I then, realizing what's happening, I then create opportunities to be out, to go out with my friends, to hang out with the Soros, to do other things, so that I could be intentional about this is my space. And what he did was he said, okay. I knew other guys that lose their stuff over that. They couldn't handle it. Sometimes he wouldn't like it, but he was very intentional about not really saying anything about it and just watching how I move. And if it got on his nerves enough, then he would express himself, which I also appreciate, because a lot of times, and it's not a man thing, it's a people thing. People don't know how to talk. They don't know how to express themselves. So I think when people don't allow a friendship to flourish and they immediately want to go into girlfriend, boyfriend mode, that is a red flag. Run for the hill. This person is ticky, ticky, boom, boom. Because the minute they don't get what they want, you're going to see a blow up. I'm telling you what I know. It's some strange people out here.
Yeah, I mean, so I think, the pace of a relationship is definitely important, right? In developing a relationship. If someone is trying to be my man and we've only been on 2 dates, I definitely will have.
Or the person start talking about marriage and y'all only been seeing each other a month.
Yeah.
There's some, and listen, I know a lot of you women want to get married. Okay, that's fine. Everybody deserves to be miserable one time in their life. So some of y'all want to get married, that's fine. Y'all just do this thing. Marriage is a great institution as long as you like being institutionalized. Go ahead.
I think a thing is, even with I think everything has to be organic. There has to be chemistry and respect. So I think there has to. So all of that has to align with each other. Like you said about energy, there has to be a complementing energy between the two people. And if one is, overpowering the other, that's definitely not aligned together. Like I said, I do believe that men have formulas and they stick to the one formula. Men will tell you, I've had men say, you are the one. And you be like, the one what? What are you talking about? Like, I don't think we know each other's last names, or I can't remember yours. And that's how much I am interested in you, that I have conveniently forgotten your last name, right?
Right.
So I do feel, because here's the thing. There are some people, I've gone on, like we said, I've gone on dates where I've instantly, been attracted and vibed with a person and look forward to hearing from them the next day, or look forward to seeing them the next day. And there are other people where I'm really trying to be objective, like maybe, like you said, maybe it's you, so maybe it was me, right? And maybe I'm being very guarded, or I'm being petty, or I'm being picky. 9 times out of 10, I will tell you this. No, I didn't like the person. I knew I didn't like the person. And I don't understand why I am even
considering yeah,
because
it's something to do. There's something to do, and I know people raise their eyebrows at me. My Soros kind of looked at me all off, but it's something to do. I'm not the only one.
And another thing about men, they are not. If they don't like you, they don't like you. There's no trying to be objective.
No, they do that. They do that.
I have, and so
Angelo, don't they do that? If they don't like you, they still be half fooling with you, because you got fish on the hook. You don't just take it off and throw it back in the water.
I think guys usually they kind of go with what they want, or they do, they kind of go after what they want, and then sometimes we as women, we will definitely try to be objective in maybe
giving second and third chances.
Yeah, because the date that I went on was actually a second date, because the first date was a mess.
It was a disaster.
It was a disaster. However, I did take that wine and that food. Okay.
Yeah.
So you gonna waste my gas? I'm not.
And gas is too high. Jasmine told us gas too expensive
to be meeting you only for you to have to go rescue another woman. So
that was a red flag.
Right. And so the second day, he's very persistent. I'm like, okay, that's fine. Let's, go out. But I recognize that what he is looking for someone, like, I definitely feel like he needs to deal with, like, his own internal
idiosyncrasies.
his own internal issues. And what I mean by that, like, definitely grew up differently from each other, but he is very dismissive of how he grew up, right? He doesn't really talk about that, and I don't.
How did he grow up?
So, you know, in the hood, you know, mom was there, he had raised
meager means,
right?
Okay.
And so,
and you
know,
did not.
But he has, you know, evolved and
he's doing very well now.
Very well. So,
but let me tell you, but let's talk about that for a second.
Mm-hmm.
People, because y'all keep saying I say men, but there's no greater supporter of black men than me. I am a champion, but you know, the truth doesn't care who tells it. I'm gonna tell the truth.
Mm-hmm.
People who come from meager means, who do well, because that is what's supposed to happen. America, as a unit, is supposed to allow us, right, Angelo, to go from, you know, certain situations, public schools, good education, or create opportunities for you to better yourself, you know, emotionally, physically, financially, you know, you're supposed to be able to do that in America. That is the dream, right? But typically what happens in relationships, especially with men and women who have had the benefit of being with their fathers, growing up with their fathers doting on them and treating them like little princesses, whether they had a lot of money or a little money, especially if they were doing well, you know, middle class and above, right? The real middle class, not what we're seeing now, like the middle class that we grew up in. Typically what happens is there is a certain, and I don't mean across the board, I don't mean every single man every single time, but there tends to be this I don't know, like a mantra that runs as a theme, that there's a resentment there. Like they don't have any understanding of the way that you grew up, because the way you grew up creates your environmental expectations. And there seems to be this thing that happens where there's a tad bit of resentment there, where they can't relate, because oftentimes what happens with people, but men in particular, is they're like the girl who was, you know, overweight in school. And even though she gets her body right and she's beautiful, at the 10-year class reunion, she still internally feels like the overweight girl, or the guy who was little, or maybe he was overweight in school and he comes back and he's great, but he still feels like he has something to prove. That happens with people who may grow up with less, and then they meet a woman in particular that grew up with more. I don't know, it just seems to be this thing. It's always there.
I agree. Well, and so, dear men who are dating or going on dates with women who have good relationships
with their fathers,
because everybody, just because he lives there, don't mean y'all have a good relationship.
Yeah, your dad didn't beat your mom. He wasn't an alcoholic. Yeah. He didn't molest you.
Don't try to break that down, because I have noticed that, like, when men don't recognize or understand that dynamic, because they've only seen
the struggle
and
struggle of
that, they really don't know how to align themselves with someone.
And here's the difference: the men. Now, I know this is not just men, okay, but in my experience, y'all do what y'all want to with this. The men who may have grown up with less, who don't act that way, had good relationships with their fathers. I am saying this unequivocally, categorically, and I know y'all gonna come for me. When they don't have good relationships with their fathers, and I know, yes, it's some that don't have good relationships with their mamas, and they cuckoo too, but when they don't have good relationships with their fathers, they have not seen a man in action, that is a problem. And I'm gonna say it, it's a problem. It is a problem. Now I'm saying there's some of them that have crappy fathers and they turn out to be decent human beings. I'm not saying you're a bad person. I'm saying that there are some things that you have to acknowledge and then work through when that is the case. This is not me talking. It's the Bible. It says the sins of the father will be visited upon the child. I mean, this is biblical. It's not me. So before you just come to me, open your Bible. I'm just trying to help y'all that are out here failing in these streets. What are you gonna say, Lola?
Well, what I was gonna say is don't, because my exposure, I grew up with, I have a good relationship with my dad, 2-parent home. I have noticed that men try to
compete.
Definitely.
I'm telling you what I noticed and what nobody told me.
But also, it's like belittle.
Oh, well, they're dismissive of it.
Be dismissive of it.
Yeah,
I remember.
I agree.
My ex-boyfriend one time, he was like, I don't even know. There was an argument. He was like, I don't even know why we're together. It's not like you haven't been exposed to as much stuff as I have. Now, he was in the Marines, right?
So how could I?
Right.
And nor do I want to.
You haven't traveled the world. And I said to him, well, I have a passport, so wherever you want to take me, I'm ready. Like, miss me with that.
Right.
But he needed to feel like it was more to him.
Looking for a way to be superior.
Yeah, than me. Like, I should feel bad. I
don't.
At the end of the day, if that is what you're saying, that makes me not, comparable to what you want, then that's fine. But that doesn't mean I'm not going to dim my light for you to shine.
But you know what? And let's talk about that, because there's a guy in Dallas. You know what? He's an Omega. I'm going to go as far as to call. I'm not going to call his name because I'm going to get in trouble in my own house if I do. However, he's an Omega, dark skin, not bad looking, dates, always with a bunch of women. I'm not going to say what I want to say because I think I'm going to get in trouble. But there is a reason why he makes these comments about, and he's a black guy now, and black women, dates black women. But he has damaged so many black women because in his way of telling them he's not interested in them. Now, I think he's not interested in them because he's not interested in women.
Right.
That's what I believe. However, instead of him walking in his own truth, he will damage women and tell women. He said things like, woman wasn't voluptuous enough. Okay, you like the big girls. That's cool. So he wants a Jill Scott when she was acting in the James Brown movie. She wants one of them, right? Not the now Jill Scott, like the then Jill Scott. Okay, so she wasn't voluptuous enough. Okay. Another woman, he couldn't date her because her husband was was a member of his same fraternity. He couldn't date this other woman because of something else. She wasn't uninhibited enough.
When it's always somebody else, it's usually them. And what that says is that they don't know what they want anyway.
I'm already getting in trouble.
Yeah,
okay.
They are. That means that they don't know what they want.
This
anyway.
person, who I have grown to not like, for a lot of reasons that I'm not going to discuss on the air because I'm already getting in trouble. I already got a text, but he damages women. You got a right to do whatever you want to do. I don't have a problem with what you want to do as long as you ain't over here messing with me and mine. I really don't have a problem with it. I have some opinions about things because I'm a thinker, but I don't have a problem. I'm never going to try to stop you from doing your thing, right? But I believe in your quest to do what you want to do. You have a right to do that except for take or make a victim along the way. And I believe that's exactly what he does.
Well, that's his own insecurities.
But be honest and stop damaging these women.
Company. But women have to know themselves, know thyself. And when you know yourself, it doesn't matter what someone says.
Well, but to that, he's real smooth about it too. And so it leaves them. I literally had a girl ask me, well, what's wrong with me? I mean, we were doing good, and then all of a sudden he was like, I'm just not his taste. I said, that's what he said. You out of his face? His face opened up, and that's what came out. And she was like, well, no, but that was kind of the sentiment. Well, that's not really why you don't like her. Right. You don't like her because you don't really like girls.
And you don't really like you for not liking girls.
That's right.
So
that's right.
At the end of, and as you get older, you recognize that, like, we can't take people's preference personal, and it's hard not to.
No, you cannot. That's true. That's true.
It's hard not to, especially if you like someone, right? And you hope that they like you too.
Right.
But you can't take their preference personal, because if you're comfortable with who you are, then it's okay.
I'm gonna go back. Being comfortable. Like, I literally had someone say to me, many of my cousins on my dad's side of the family are very fair. Mm-hmm. They're, they're light, right? Mm-hmm. And I had somebody say to me who knew my relatives in East Texas, she was like, "You like the only brown skin in the family, huh?" Mm-hmm. And I said, "Well, not the only, but yeah." I said, "Out of that group, yeah." And she was like, and she literally says to me, "You never wanted to be light skinned?" I had never even thought about it. Mm-hmm. Because in my mind, I think, why would I hope to have something that I don't have? But I also think, and this is what I want to go back to, I was taught to love myself from my mother and my father. Like this is the largest I've ever been, right? I weigh 122 pounds. There it is. Y'all want to know? There it is, right? And I drink beer and I have a little gut. But in the words of Rihanna, let me get this out. She made the comment that she was thick now, and then she said she was probably gonna lose some of her butt because she had to work out, and when you have a butt, you have a gut. Well, there it is. So, when people say, "Cole, you don't have a gut," just get past yourselves. I'm trying to get through my story. So, with that being said, I never thought about what I was supposed to look like for that family, right? Mm-hmm. And so I'm really skinny and have a long neck. Like, I have a perfect turtleneck neck. And so I told my dad my neck was too long, and I was like, my neck is just too long. It's like a giraffe. And my dad, this is the fashion of my father, says to me, "There's nothing wrong with your neck." And he grazes my neck with his hand, and he says, "I prayed for your neck to be like that. Your neck is long and elegant like a swan." He says, "You talk about the giraffe, but the giraffe looks down on every other creature on land." Mm-hmm. He says, "And oftentimes he's eye to eye with the birds." Mm-hmm. There's nothing wrong with your neck. Your neck is long and beautiful like a swan. It's elegant. He says, "You move like a gazelle because of your neck. I prayed for your neck." Now, that's the biggest bunch of crap, but I believed it because that's what my dad said. And so I'm saying that to say, when you have someone in your life that builds you up like that even the things that you perceive to be your flaws, this person spins it and makes it be an asset and tells you in a way where you just eating it up, then yes, you can tell that person who you may be interested in, who you believe is interested in you, well, then you can say, "Oh, okay, well, wait a minute, hold up. It's all good." Like, all right, well, I'm just not your cup of tea. You're able to do that, Lola, because of your upbringing. There are so many women and men that were deprived of that kind of installation. Mm-hmm. Because I don't think that everybody has to be loved the same way to have self-esteem. But it is a part of self-esteem for you to tell somebody, "Okay, well, ain't nothing wrong with me. This just didn't work. Assalamu alaikum." Mm-hmm. That's self-esteem. And I think we have not, as a people, not as a race of people, as a people, because white women out here failing in these streets too, because some of them are DMing me. Mm-hmm. As a people, we have not done a good job of really helping people understand their worth is not built on someone else's opinion of them. That's a problem. And so in dating, when you have people, not just women, people, men too, because this idea that men don't have feelings and that men don't feel certain things and that they're afraid of rejection. Sometimes they don't ask questions because they just don't want to hear no, because no is internalized to many men as a part of who they are. They feel that no is a no to them, not just the question. And so they don't ask it. So then you say, well, he doesn't talk. So they do have their own idiosyncrasies and their own insecurities and their own fears that we do not allow men, black men in particular, we don't allow them to have. So sometimes I think we can be too aggressive in our quest for acceptance and respect. And I think that this guy who was trying to like force it, like I know a girl who went out with a guy and they were seeing each other like every other day or so. About 3 weeks in, they went to church together. I don't even know if I'm on church credit, child. I do bedside Baptist. I don't know if I'm gonna get them to go to church with you. And so, and she was like, well, we're going to church. You think it's moving fast? Yes, I do. Absolutely. And then she was like, well, I'm gonna go on and go. And then they went and met his parents for after church. 3 weeks in, I'm like, he's probably a serial killer. Run away.
I think that still goes back to energy and aligning, depending on, because as long as you want to see this person when they ask, hey, let's hang out, then that's, I think that's perfectly fine.
Not they mammy and they pappy.
Well, I've had someone, want to meet my.
Yes, I know, and that was very disturbing to me.
And so with that being said, it's different strokes for different folks, and as long as both people have the same common interest, then I think it's okay. It's when someone is basically, like you said, being a little more aggressive and trying to, force you into
submission of a relationship,
or a situation that you're not interested in having with them. I definitely like to be pursued, and I definitely like for a man to be a gentleman. And since I am single, I do usually open my own car door. But when a man says that that's what he does, I am flattered. And yes, please open my car door, or open the doors. Let
me tell you something about that. They'll start out like that, but then after you've been with them 3 years, you be getting your own car door. I'm just saying.
My point in saying this is, so those are nice. I don't want to stand in the middle of your living room and dance to music, though. I don't want to. That's not what I'm interested in doing. It's not saying it's weird or creepy.
It is kind of weird. I mean, after we had been dating a while, after we've been dating a while, we did dance, but it was just that one time, and it was just in that moment. But we knew each other, right?
Yeah, and it happens organically. It's not like you are trying to put these moves. I don't like that. Like
trying to put the moves on.
Yeah, put moves on me.
Moves
or
like Jagger.
To make me, because here's the thing. I understand that, you're luring me into an intimate space so something can go down. But if I don't want it to go down, it's not going down. And I don't care how many.
If you open up a 5-figure discount, just know I'm the kind that's going to tell it. I'm going to tell it.
I'm not going to do that. And I don't feel bad.
You shouldn't.
No, because... Yeah, I don't feel bad, and I'm not interested anymore. And trust me, if it's not going down that night, it probably won't ever go.
Yeah.
And so...
But I do think I told you about that guy that I dated for about 12 minutes, and he wanted to cut my food up. Do you want me to cut your food? What? I've been cutting my food up since I was 3. Mm-hmm. And I thought to myself, this is so weird. Like, if I were to say, yes, what he was going to do, put it in my mouth? Like, what? Does this work? Like, do women think this is romantic? Mm-hmm. Like, this is weird and awkward and creepy. Mm-hmm. And why is he wanting to cut my food up? Because the only thing left to do if he's cutting my food up is to place it in my mouth. So, you know what? But I also think that has, now look here, y'all know I'm the hood psychologist. I analyze everything, child. In my mind, as I am processing through how weird and creepy and awkward the statement was, because I immediately said no, I then think to myself, this is a form of control. Because, now my cousin said, girl, you done really went somewhere with that, and possibly. But I thought to myself, this is a form of control, because I am not in control of the portions that I put in my mouth, the frequency that I put in my mouth, how I go about eating that as opposed to something else. Maybe I don't want any more steak. Maybe I want cauliflower. I don't know. But that removes a certain amount of control. And I thought to myself, very deliberately, because this is how my mind works. Y'all talk about me at home. I said, now, if he can take that kind of control away, then what else is he looking to control? Mm-hmm. Things that make you go, hell no. I was like, nope, this dude is a weirdo. And he is a weirdo. He's a weirdo.
Well, yeah, I think, and as an adult, if you are dating if you are going out on a date with someone and you feel like they don't know how to even cut up their own food, I mean, that's a problem within itself.
And why do you think that that's romantic or alluring or, like to cut my food up?
Yeah, and the thing is, I definitely love romantic gestures, right? But I don't like to be treated like a child. I'm not, a child. And if you are looking to date a child, then you got deeper issues than...
But I don't think that's what that is. I think that's probably, like you said, his formula. And it's worked on other women because those women need to lose some control because they are responsible for so much by themselves and they have not had help. And so those kinds of things are good for a certain subset of woman that is looking. So she sees that as him taking care of her and protecting her and securing her. Whereas I see it as, you don't want me to eat my food like I want to eat my food.
All right.
Like, what is happening here? Oh, no. That was the last time I saw him. I was like, no. And I got to go. Like, I didn't even finish my food. I was like, oh, look at here. My child is calling me. I got to go. and my phone had not rung. I was like, I don't understand that. But I know that the reason he said that was to your very point. It worked elsewhere. Somebody else thought that was great. I didn't think that was great.
And and going on these dates, you recognize like this is your formula.
Yeah.
And you're not understanding why. Because the thing is, once you decide on a formula, it's definitely me. Like, you're not taking this formula because it's a problem with you. And it's like, no, this is not a good formula for me.
Right.
The problem isn't me. And the mere fact that you're not open to learning, like you have decided like this first date is going to
go just like this.
Because of
Here's
everything
the chronological order. Right.
And which means that you're not even open to learning me because you have decided that you're going to fit in this niche. Yeah, I'm going to fit in this niche. And this is what's going to happen. And the truth of the matter is, 9 times out of 10, no.
Right.
No.
Well, I think, and I say this all the time, and I tell my boys this, you teach people how to treat you. And, my mother says something that I think is so pointed. She says, you have to love me my way. You can't love me your way. Because your way may not work for me.
Yeah, and that's not how I receive it. And so if I'm not receiving it like that, and that doesn't mean... So yeah, even being interested in me, you want me to dance in the middle of your floor does not make me feel like you're interested in me. It definitely makes me feel like you have an objective, and so
that's his move.
Yeah, and this is not a good move. This is not, and at this point I'm leaving, because I don't want to dance. And the thing, so with dating,
what kind of music did he put on?
I mean, it was slow music, and he was like, "I thought you liked to dance," and all this stuff, and I'm like, at a party, or at a club, but not in the middle of unless we're like looking at our favorite movie and we both get up and we start dancing
to that particular scene or
it's
something.
not like that. Like, and the thing is, if you read people's bios, not everybody's honest. But I like sports. Like, genuinely, I like to debate about sports. I like to talk about sports. I'm not, I don't have a presenter or whoever, whatever they say. Like, this is
representative.
Like, I don't have that, right? This is who I am. So,
everybody has a representative.
A guy who can talk about sports, debate, and and we.
That's why I like that other guy, and he just like spontaneously combusted.
Right, and so that's what I want to do. I want to talk about sports. I want to talk about politics. I want to talk about, I want to get to know you, where you stand. Because even if we disagree, I want to see, like, okay, I haven't. Maybe I need to be a little more objective, or no, you're
and just if I can offer this. So who I'm dating now, politics was never his thing. Like, I mean, he voted, but beyond that, you know, and I'm sure he voted kind of like party lines. You know, Democrats going with this person. I'm a Democrat. I'll go with this person, which is what most people do. You know, even though I may disagree, I find myself doing that too. But I have found myself just skipping some races. I'm like, I don't like neither one of these people. They're not getting my vote. Like, they have to earn my vote. But he's a lot more deliberate now with his vote. He asks questions. He will read. Well, child, he'll read it if it ain't a whole lot. Now, if it's a whole article, he don't read all that. He gonna hit the cliff notes. But those are things he did not do before me. Period. There are things that never interested me before, but I am now very interested in it because of him. That happens in a relationship.
And I think that shit, like, complimenting, like, I should be able to learn from you.
Right.
Or, you know, something I've never been interested in, I now, you know, I see where there can be some interest.
Right.
Things of that nature. Not, again, dancing in the middle of the floor is not.
That is your
no
turn
interest.
off. So listen, men, she doesn't want to dance in your living room. You want to take her dancing? Take her dancing. She doesn't want to do that.
And I enjoy, like, karaoke, right?
Yes, you do.
Of course. I will sing karaoke all day and have a great time with it. And so, if that is something you're not interested in, but open to, I don't like golf. I don't want to go. It's an all day sport.
Oh yes, and it is like watching
paint dry. And if there's no open bar, I am not your +1. However, if someone like, there was a guy, he asked me what I was doing that night. I told him I was going to go support this karaoke DJ, and he asked to meet me there. We go. We had a good time. Of course, he didn't sing or, you know, participate, but I did. And then he said, well, you know, he was going to go play golf like in 2 days, and I want to go. Since he came to karaoke, the least I could do was
let me say this. I thought golf was like watching paint dry.
It is.
I mean, I knew about Tiger and I knew about Arnold Palmer because I drink the drink. But Jack Nicholson, because you heard the name. But beyond that, you know, my dad would be watching golf, and I walk in and be like, what you doing? And he'd be like, oh, I turn around and walk out. Like, I'm not interested, right? But now, girl, I can tell you scores. I know what the terms mean. I have become completely engrossed in golf because that is his thing. He loves golf. And so I find myself where it's not, now let me say this, I have not turned on the TV yet and just watched a golf match. Now there have been times,
and the Masters are going on
right
now. And
I mean, there have been times where I'm scrolling through and I see some golf tournament on, and I'll like click on there, and then I'll watch, you know, somebody hit the ball once or twice, and then I'm on to something else. But that would have never happened, ever, except for my feelings for him. So I have grown into golf as I have grown into him.
Right.
So, I mean, I'm telling you, he'll watch some CNN now, some MSNBC. Girl, that wasn't his thing. But now he's interested. So those things happen. We just know that you don't want to dance in nobody's living room.
I really am, I mean, and I think most people are, but I want us, I'm looking for good chemistry, something to grow organic, right?
Right.
And so
to have a friendship first.
Yeah, and then just to see, like, if we have anything in common, you know, just because you're romantic and you send me flowers,
or you think you're a romantic,
right? You know, you send me roses and stuff. That doesn't mean we have anything to talk about. That, you know, and since we don't have anything to talk about, you know, I'm going to take these roses and say thank you, but I'm definitely still not interested. Like, there has to be a common interest, and that's what, you know, I look forward to. Even with the like I said, the online thing, even with the Facebook dating part, it's been interesting to have the conversations. Like, it could just be dead air. Hi, beautiful. Hi, how are you? And then there's nothing. Well,
What's the point?
Yeah, I don't, and you know.
I tried to hook a friend up with one of my guys' friends, and she said he would text, and then she would respond with like a question, like, how are you, how's your day been, and nothing. So it's just like, it's a box check. And then when I was telling my guy about it, he was like, well, he'll do that to me. So this dude is inconsistent. And if you are a person that needs communication, this is not the guy for you. But, maybe he's not inconsistent with everyone, but it just seems pointless and futile to engage someone and then not be interested enough to finish, because you don't have to I don't like to have a full conversation on text. Like, call me. Right. I can talk on the phone. Mm-hmm. So I don't like that. But, just little things throughout the day or just to check in, that's fine. But then there should be something in the response. He never could respond.
Well,
and it turned my friend off.
Yeah, I'm going to forget that you even responded. Like, because my attention span is short. So if you say hi and I say, hey, and that's it, I'm going to
move on.
Yeah. And it's not, it's just because I can't.
Well, it's stupid though.
I don't want to work that hard.
Right.
I don't think anyone should have to work that hard to pull a conversation out of somebody.
Right.
Like, if it's going to take that much, then, what, let's not talk at all, because it shouldn't. I mean, there's enough that I'm working hard at right now that I definitely don't want that to be added onto the plate.
The beginnings of a relationship should be seamless and
it
should be
very
easy
fun
and light.
Easy. Yeah. I'm not moving in. You're not having to, empty out a drawer. Like, it's just.
Let's just take some time. All right, we got to leave it there because we got to get out of here. But we'll do it again. Same bad time, same bad channel. I just feel like it's a lot happening in these streets, and this poor man was murdered, and it doesn't look like anything's gonna happen. And poor Will, his whole career is in jeopardy.
He put his hands in the hands of who he wanted to put his life. He put his life in the hands of which he thought would take better care of it, and that obviously isn't the case. So.
And again, same thing, make you laugh or make you cry. All right, we will get out of here, and we'll do it again. Same bad time, same bad channel. Lola's Love Life. We're gonna follow this.
It's coming.
What are we gonna do when she finds somebody? Like, what we gonna talk about?
I don't know.
Because I was getting text messages, like, So would you be getting text messages where we couldn't say certain stuff? I don't know. We'll keep following it and see what happens. All right, we'll do it again. Love, peace, and happiness.